Dolly Parton was an icon. There will never be another Dolly. Hmm, there's a couple of versions. Dolly Rama, Dolly the Sheep. There is a time that is passing, and this icon is the exemplary embodiment of so much of that. We tend to overlook people's flaws and discretion. Working 9 to 5, they took Dad Nicole in hostage. Um, Best little whorehouse in Texas. It pretty much speaks for itself. A couple of other little things along the way, and then Dollywood and silence. But brought out for special events and country music and this, that, and the third in Tennessee. She was like a treasure. Dolly Parton could have been our Michael Jackson. Like you can't talk bad about Mike. You can't talk bad about Luther. You can't talk bad about Dolly. You can't talk bad about Whitney. You cannot talk bad about Patti LaBelle. As much as I did not like them desserts, I was still drag you. Talk bad about Patty. Okay. Those are our otherwise mothers. There's a select few of us who see music and the world through a different lens. We are bound to dates and times. It's the feeling of the music. It's nobody puts baby in the corner. And if you know, you just know. You've been waiting for the rest of the world to know. So you don't feel like the smartest kid in the room anymore. And then you're still the smartest kid in the room. I apologize. I was told some time ago that I needed to be careful how I eat my peanut butter in front of other people and thought absolutely nothing of it and still don't. But when your entire life has been over sexualized and over dramatized and you seem to see certain things and or sexualized behavior in almost every or anything, no matter what they're doing. No. I did my best not to roll the blunt on camera because I know what that is. Simultaneous too. I teach people to smoke blunts, roll blunts. It's just what, when, where, why, how. Questions that we were taught to ask ourselves in the early 90s and 2000s. Well, I'm a 80s baby. Mm, I'm 80s and 90s teen. And I become a mother in 96. I I have the tolerance and the patience and the understanding because of the life I lived as a latchkey kid, a sibling, growing up in a daycare, host things. Hmm. Growing up overseas, I recognized that I didn't have to love Germany or Germans. I simply had to respect everyone that I came into contact with. And respect was mm, then what you would call, what is that word? No, it's not compassion. It's when you're willing to accept someone for who they are, um, and then just I have a term. It's politeness. It's another word for being polite, though, because it's cordial. Learning to be cordial. So, growing up in Germany, I learned to be cordial, to speak but not be in someone else's business, to respect someone's level of authority by a way of age, and never allow them to use that against me by way of race. My mother, yes sir, yes ma'am, those things are fine. Not rarely do you hear me say Miss Sally or some old Southern things there, giving ma'am, madam, miss to a woman who's otherwise the same rank as you, but because she's a different race than you, somehow has authority or pedigree, that type of thing. So, one of the things I want to talk to you about real quick is this visa situation with the United States president as he sits. Visas expire. You can't marry, so you can stay here. You can reapply for your visa in time, and it may be extended. Or you can go back to your country of origin, reapply. But we've come to find that a lot of people are using romance schemes to marry elders who have no money and or on fixed incomes. And then to keep those fixed incomes going, you either keep that poor elder alive knowing that, they're on their last leg, or you eliminate said human being. Neither of which is okay. So we're pulling the plug on it. Effective immediately. You've had 2 months now. A month to state your case and be American and stay. A month for those of you who you and your children may have some issues that we had needed to address. We have taken away the opportunity for you to be fostered abroad. Your children have the choice of staying here and receiving an American education, and one will be afforded to them when they return to this country. We will not invest any of our money in putting schools over there so that you can bomb us and so on and so forth. Okay? So now is the point where we make the decision on those of you who have visas and whatever it is. We've asked you 2 months in a row. That's 60 days. And you already knew because you was getting mail before. Okay? And this is for you who want to say, well, I wasn't getting no mail. Here you go. I'm an American citizen. I'm also the United States president. Donald Trump's just sitting there talking shit as well. How do we officially take him out of office, even though technically he's a criminal? Well, see, y'all put in a felon. But the thing is, when you put the felon in, he didn't have access to certain information. There had to be someone who could run the country in the insecure times and could be otherwise read on. If you don't know what read on is, you can go back and see my top secret skip one back there video, and then you know maybe leave me the hell alone because you're not qualified. So anyway, this includes Cash Patel, Pete Hegseth, a couple other people. They are the face of said organizations. They are not the actual like career workers. They leave, come and go, whatever it is. They were all trying to have a political career. There are other people who it is their job by way of being civil servants to actually make sure that the country continues to run by way of the continuity of governance. The same way that your doctors and nurses hand you off in the time that you in the hospital from surgery and to the time that you leave, that is what this is. We've been doing surgery on the country while y'all let the president, while y'all let Donald Trump play president. Now, one more time. Donald Trump apparently recently survived an attempt to kidnap and or kill him. Ain't nobody said this was a drill. And they can't now. Okay? He was on that plane from Qatar, had to get off, use another vehicle, and get to, first of all, kudos to the Secret Service and everyone involved in making the maneuver happen. Because the reality is it was a contingency, from what I can tell, and not a backup to the backup to the backup. This was a oh shit, somebody fucked up. We gotta go. Okay? Well, anyway, he was a hostage on that plane. A little gilded cage. His crown of gold by way of Game of Thrones. Okay? The what do we want to call them? The powers that be in the Middle East do not play about their money. They do not play about their religion. Hmm. And they certainly don't play about their caliphate. Okay? You called for open war against one for no reason. You didn't think all of them were going to convict you of treason? Hmm? Hmm. Let me tell you a story about Muslims. First and third, right? When they get up there in rank for sure, like kings, say that a Muslim general king has one seed, and it's boy, passing on the bloodline. But you are entitled to 7 wives and concubines. Don't believe in contraception. Oh, yeah, you do what you do. There, your method's cool. Pills are not. Technically, women are supposed to be like taking poison and things, but if you do something where you can um, purge an egg from your body before seeds implanted, that's a different beast. Okay? Old school shit turned new school shit, by the way. But so anyway, say you are the second wife, you get pregnant. He's gonna set you up in the house over there, and the future king is gonna be in the house over there with his mama. All the rest of the women is in the harem. You kind of get a house when you get a kid. Some of them do it different, but say right. So now y'all both got children by the king. Yeah, do y'all like each other? Your children like each other. King says, "I can only have one heir." He got here first. before the middle child or the second child can take out the first one, they take out the second one. Unless you're born invalid, some type of deformity, something that says you can't otherwise be king. Notwithstanding, things are changing. Hmm. It's about preservation of the bloodline. What they're finding out though is you don't actually have to pass on your deformities. You could just pass on your proclivities to do nasty things. And they don't condone those things in Islam, like the rape and mutilation of young women and children, contrary to popular belief. That's some honor killing shit, mostly made up for TVs. I'm gonna send it to you one more time. Before the average American knew anything about a Muslim, they knew about Muslims by way of the Nation of Islam, Minister Malcolm X, Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad. Wallenstein Muhammad is the child of. Okay, point being, you have the Nation of Islam, and then you have American now Black Muslims. Okay, because they have left the nation, understanding that the nation was poisoned by way of the doctrine of the devil, following a white man. Farad Muhammad is nothing more than a Mediterranean white man. Okay, not an African man, which is what the Nation of Islam was supposed to be written for. Which is why the mathematics say the Asiatic black man in America, which is why we then get Claire's 13X, mm-hmm, and the Nation of Gods and Earths, which I am a part of. Have been, always will be. Just because it's not a part of this big old church testimony, we don't do that. I, self Lord and Master. I am Earth body. The man that I would choose to be with is God body. I am Earth in the flesh. He is God in the flesh. We together produce life by way of seeds and our children. Mm. Resurrected God through birth. Best believe you're all that I need. I'll be there for you. Who is that, ladies and gentlemen? Met the man in the mirror. Yeah. Him. Your mama and daddy don't know that, but you do, because you grew up with the Gen X. We are the kids next door. We were cool. Y'all wanted to hang out with us, but your mama and daddy said, not that bad music. Them terrorists they listening to. And then you went out to college and you found you a best friend and you have been kicking it ever since. I am Tucson's ratchet adjacent black friend. My younger sister calls me hood adjacent. I like ratchet adjacent. I'm not quite bougie. I'm not quite ratchet. I'm a patchwork, a positive black plurality. Why y'all get to be plural but we don't? Hmm? Plural and walk around with plushies and do all types of shit. We ain't never been allowed to do it. We're always told we had to be 3 times smarter than you, and then when we show up 10 times smarter than everybody, you wanna squeeze your plushie and tell us how we've offended you. That's a disappointment. So we began delineating. That's how we get to this point with the visas and the president of this country. Because contrary to popular belief, ain't none of y'all actually own this shit. Not even him. Not your land, not no none of it, because it was stolen from my inheritance as an indigenous American black woman. Yeah. Me and mine, we didn't, bend the knee for 40 acres and a mule steed. That's a settlement. That's a deal. That's negotiating with terrorists. We don't do that. We don't do that. And then you created a country that don't do that. They were right on top of us. So you are a second nation inside of our first nation, not the other way around. We allowed you to build all of this. It suits our needs too. Why would we not? Now I want you to go and look and see how many times I've voted and paid taxes in this country. And see if I'm a living. I pay taxes every now and then, but you know what happened? I got it all back. I'm good like that. No taxation without representation. I ain't seen nobody in these offices of authority that represent indigenous American black me or my white homies. See, now you got this weird amalgamation of Mexican, white, black thingy coming out of Texas. It's weird. A little bit of Colorado too, but I mean California. Which I went over there to Tijuana, Juarez, and Nogales, and you made non-war babies. We understand the German biracials and all of the other ones because we've been at war with them. Y'all had nothing, but you, and then you didn't take care of your seeds. I'm talking about you, Schwarzenegger. Mhm. Now we got these angry triracials. I do not mean to be as careless with your feelings. I don't. I fully understand what it is to not identify with the world around you, and that's why it has nothing to do with your race. That's the human condition. Um, I think my headphones have died. So go here real quick. Excuse me. Every human being, every human being looks around at some point and has to determine who they are in relation to the world around them and whom they want to be. And then they have to determine how they're going to achieve that victory, stand on business, and be that person even when no one else likes them. That is your id, your ego, and your super ego journey. If you can master all of that each day, then you have mastered self and two, our Lord and Master over your own life. Then you can tackle the macro and you can become a politician, an advocate, an artist, or whatever it is. But as long as you're in your infancy, your id, your ego, or your super ego, you do not have the mental autonomy necessary to achieve the victory you are seeking. So no matter how many times you go to a guru or you pay somebody, you will not achieve what it is you are trying to. And in return, they will be able to take money away from you. And eventually they're going to be able to say, see, but we told you about way of psychology. And we're going to end up closing the door on people getting arrested for these larger than life Bernie Madoff Ponzi schemes. Because how did you get your money that you didn't recognize to begin with? You know, if you don't earn it, you're bound to lose that. If you don't earn it, you don't know how to keep it. If you don't know how to keep it, you don't know what to do with it. If you don't know what to do with money, that makes you financially illiterate. It's just the equivalent of not knowing what to do with a book, except it's a checkbook instead of a nonfiction novel or whatever it's called. You understand? So you have to determine before you get your reparations, because they're going to give them to you, as you can see, by way of the UN and security councils and everything else. That that ship is coming. What you gonna do when we give you money, land, opportunity, the education, all the rest of it, because it's yours in the first place? I'm talking about the 73 to 75% of Black Americans who are actually indigenous and never had reparations while under Indigenous American Black. However, if you chose to call yourself a foundational Black American or an American descendant of slaves, you will be at the very back of the line because you toed the line with the white folks at some time. We over here are Moors, Muslim Spaniards, dark skinned, who came up across land and water to get to this moment in history as a new Asiatic black man in America. We didn't leave the land parted ways. We learned and built and grew on every continent, the same as you. The equator is the reason why we the color that we are. Period. The closer you are to it, the darker you will be. No, you're doing it the wrong way. You're going like this. Go around the world like this, what you call the world, your globe, and you'll see that not only is Africa bigger than the United States, yeah, but accordingly, if you lay the map of Africa on top of, you get a new understanding of the world today. Because why? The planets move, the stars do too. There's an alignment. That's why we have latitude and longitude. They're coordinates. You can go to those coordinates today, and there'll be something there. You can go to those coordinates tomorrow, and there won't be. Why? Time. Time is relative. But when you put coordinates on it by way of the Ptolemaic calendar or whatever that little machine is, so if you have the coordinates, the time, and the date that you want to get back to, and you understand borderline, and you happen to have a, I don't know, open mind, i.e., clear pineal gland, you don't have no regrets, and you light as a feather, you can get to the crystalline grid and back without damaging it. It's you can see what's on the other side. It's trippy. It's a little heady. Takes some getting used to. It's that scene from Men in Black 2, I believe, where you see him and he's looking in and he's like, if this is this place, but that part. Because I passed February 2nd, 2022, I'm my own ancestor. So when the ancestors get to having meetings about what they're gonna do, about what y'all got going on down here, and I was innocent, I am entitled to conversate about putting hands and feet on you in the spirit and the flesh. It's just there are certain ones that I will not take part in. That's called abstaining. That's where abstention works, not in the bedroom. But I abstain from any case in the spirit that directly affects the outcome of my children and anyone who has come against me. Specifically, my children because it's too close and too emotional, and anyone who's come against me because While I'm not emotional about it, I do believe in an eye for an eye. Yeah, they may not be my will. The moment you understand, yeah, the wheel keeps turning. So if I want the wheels of justice to turn in my favor, I can't get in the way of that. Okay, I can't be trying to hold up the court systems where the United States president has. I can't send negativity out into the world by way of magic and whatever it is. That all comes back to you in some other chaotic form. So when I say I let the Lord's will be done, that simply means everyone has to get into their place of alignment for a crime to take place, for justice to be served, and so on and so forth. That is the wheel of life, of fortune turning. And if you are paying attention, you can see where to go so you can have it turn in your favor by way of ebb and flow. The justice for my cousin Demario is 7, 8 years in the making, right? People who came outside and fought day one are not here today. It's hard to dedicate 8 years of your life to what others believe will never be a victory. Trust, believe in self. There is no one else. Little lady, me, myself, and I. Um, what about your friends? Friends by Houdini. These are all songs that tell you it's just you and the relationships that you build. And the less sturdy and trustworthy and show up you are, the less that people are going to show up for you. It's the part of being a human being. Most people don't have time for collecting friends. They just don't realize it until their collection of friends isn't there in the end. When gang gang don't show up to the hospital because you got shot in your tailbone and you'll never walk again. They won't go to the shelters with you because your parents put you out and you don't know what to do. And they damn sure won't go to jail with you after telling you to abuse some disabled homeless person who was just trying to get some rest at a bus stop. When they graduate from college, they won't look you up and offer you a job either. Don't let the good taste fool you because the ones in college getting hazed and beat up and fed dog food, they aren't doing any better than you. Because you all came from the same type of familial dysfunction that allowed you to allow others to mistreat you for their own pleasure and or the opportunity to get money. Where would you be without money? All things being equal in a utopic society, money doesn't matter. Who are you then? I think that's a pretty good place to end this. We'll check in tomorrow. Maybe later on today. We'll see.